Tineke, what could Europe be doing more to encourage Chinese visitors to Europe?
I think Chinese tourists, and especially independent tourists, are looking for good flight connections, easy visa procedures. That's very important for them, especially the independent tourists when they decide where to travel. Also safety is a big concern and a welcoming attitude towards Chinese visitors. I would say that these things are quite relevant.
And what's the growth potential of this market?
If we realize that currently less than 10% of the Chinese population of 1.4 billion more or less hold a passport. So it means, and with the middle class continuing to grow, it means that lots of Chinese tourists will be traveling the world, and they have also developed a real appetite for travel. Currently, domestic tourism is the main market, and everywhere in China you come across huge crowds of tourists exploring their own country. And outbound tourism is definitely on the rise, mainly to Asia. Top Asian destinations are, for example, Thailand, Japan, but also other areas. But Europe is also popular, but quite expensive, and visa problems or flight connections can also be an issue for tourists to decide on another destination.
In terms of EU initiatives like the EU-China Tourism Year, the COSME programme, how is that helping to boost tourism from China to Europe?
I think the EU-China Tourism Year, that was 2018, was very important in drawing attention to Europe and also to the lesser known parts of Europe in China, and also putting Europe on the map as a suitable destination for off-season travel. The main holidays in China, some of the main holidays in China are around October the 1st and January, February, so not the European high summer season. Further, during the EU-China Tourism Year, many business-to-business matchmaking events were organized, putting European and Chinese tour operators and other tourism providers in touch with each other. And if you go to the website of the EU-China Tourism Year, there's lots of interesting materials available, webinars and other leads for especially small and medium enterprises to explore their possible market in China.
You mentioned the business-to-business contacts. How crucial is it for companies in Europe to have that local contact on the ground in China?
I think if you don't know anything about China, you will have a very hard time to create a market or to attract Chinese tourists. So knowledge of the Chinese tourism market, of online social media, and how to present yourself as a destination or a hotel or a tour operator is very important. And for me personally, I think it's something that you cannot do without. Also, what is quite interesting and important in shaping the interests of Chinese tourists for destinations are the social media, the many different social media platforms. Also key opinion leaders, so travel bloggers or movie stars that visit certain destinations are very important in triggering the interests of Chinese tourists to visit certain places. So key opinion leaders and television series or movies can also be quite relevant in sparking the interest of Chinese tourists.